Hello everybody and welcome back. In 2016 was my first Blizz Con and I wanted to make something for it. So I built my Space Marine costume. Thank you Sneaky Zebra for that amazing video. It was so great walking around meeting fellow makers and creators and seeing all their amazing costumes. And I got a lot of compliments on my costume, but the one big question I get over and over again was, how do I go about making my foam helmet with the chrome visor? Well, I'm going to show you how I did it right here on the Evil Ted channel. Not only am I going to show you how, the patterns are available in my shop. Everything you're going to need for this build is listed just below the video. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. We start with the 10mm foam parts, all cut out at 90-degree angles. The next step is we heat shape the foam with a slight curl to it. Now that the heat shaping is done, we're going to apply contact cement to the darts first. Let dry, then push them together. Be sure to line up your registration marks. The next step is to glue the sides together. We're going to start with the left side of the helmet. Now to the right. Now, glue on the mouth guard. The 10mm parts are all together. Let's glue on the 6mm back plate. Having the back plate 6mm makes the helmet fit easier. Now going to line up the mouth guard. Pin it in place. Trace it inside and out. Moving on to the chrome face shield. Place the template, slide it down until it's flush to the edges. Tape it down. Move the tape to the edges. Draw your cut line on with a fine tip Sharpie. Remove the template. Be sure to cut off the bottom lip first. This makes it easier to trim off the bottom half of the visor. Oh yeah, let's cut these straps off too. Now on the visor you'll see a slight lip. With your scissors, go ahead and trim that off. Take down any sharp edges with a sanding stick. Now place the visor on the helmet and move it till you hit the A placement mark. Pin it in place. Trace it out. Now take your craft knife and cut off the excess foam. For the trim detail, I have two 8mm half-round foam trim from TNT Cosplay. Glue them together. Apply contact cement. Apply the foam trim just behind the visor line. Overlap the foam trim, cut it to fit, apply contact cement to the seam, do a test fit, make sure it looks good. It looks good. Moving on to the 6mm parts, with a stone bit, I'm going to round off the edges to all 6 parts. Rounding up the edges of the 2mm parts as well. Next, I'm going to add some groove line detail with the wood burner tool. To keep the line straight, we're going to use a metal ruler. For the circle detail, cut them out with a brass tube. Now with a Q-tip, I'm going to apply contact cement to both the parts. Put them together while the glue is wet. Fit them into position halfway. It gives a slight recess. Once the glue is dry, take a craft knife and cut off the excess foam in the back. Also need to cut out the holes on both ear detail parts too. Then glue ear detail part 2 to part 1. Cut the hole out in the center with a brass tube. Now the parts are beveled and detailed, let's glue on the top detail first. Before applying the glue, you need to line up the registration mark on the top detail piece to the mark on the helmet. Push the foam down, find the placement for the circle, mark it, now with your template, draw on the circle. This circle is going to help us line up the detail parts while gluing them down. Applying contact cement. Be sure to line up the registration marks. Attaching the side detail, make sure you line up those registration marks. Attaching the ear detail. Once in place, cut out the center so you can hear with your helmet on. Attaching the side detail. Okay, now trace a 1/4 inch inside line on your face guard. Cut it out. Now glue on the mouth guard detail and also the small detail. And then the back detail. Now with the heat gun, we're going to heat seal the foam. To seal it, I'm going to use my helmet stand. To make sure it stays on, I'm going to put it down with some hot glue. For this helmet, I'm going to use Creature Cast to seal it, and my spray gun to apply it. I'm going to apply 2 good solid coats. Eight hours later, remove it from the stand. Our first color coat is Rust-O-leum off-white satin. Eight-hour dry time. Now we're going to do some masking off with frog tape. To make the masking detail easier, I'm going to make some 1/4 inch strips with a metal straight edge of my craft knife. Our second color coat is Rust-O-leum dark gray. Eight-hour dry time. Now for my favorite part, demasking. Now I'm going to do some weathering with some watered down black acrylic paint. Blot off the excess with a paper towel. Once the acrylic is completely dry, I take some denatured alcohol and a paper towel and we just wipe off the highlights to show the detail. Oops, again, I forgot to paint the mouth grill and the back detail red. So let's mask them off and do that now. With plastic wrap, I'm going to mask off the rest of the helmet. For the color red, I'm using Rust-O-leum 2X Red. Demasking round 2. Aging with black acrylic. And denatured alcohol. For the visor trim, we're going to paint that black with a brush. For the ear detail is Tamiya metallic gray. I'm going to use that on the small detail as well. Now we're going to add some more details here and here. Using cast parts from my Cybertech molds, I'm going to put them on some double stick tape. And paint them. Age them. Glue them on with Zap-A-Gap. You know, for the side detail, I think I'm going to use this casting part. I did a little aging with it with acrylic, and I'm going to go back in and paint the vents black with Tamiya. Glue them down. Now I'm going to mask off the contact points for the visor, because we're going to go back in and do some aging with my airbrush. Tamiya chrome silver and a fine tip brush. This helps create the worn metal look. Now to seal the paint job, we're going to use Kronbacher matte varnish. Now it's dry, we're going to remove the masking. And to glue on the visor, we're going to use goop glue. Apply small dabs along the contact edge. Smooth out a little bit. And then place on the face shield. Now once it's in place, wrap it with some plastic wrap. I do 2 wraps to make it secure and solid for dry time. Let it dry for at least 8 hours. Okay, let's unwrap it. Now let's do some additional aging around the visor. And I do that with an airbrush and some black Tamiya paint. Looking good. Now we need to add the perforated metal for the ear holes and the mouth guard. To trace, I apply tape to the perforated metal. Trace the pattern. Cut them out with metal shears. Now for the ear vent, I push them in slightly halfway. The metal part is slightly larger than the ear hole, so I kind of push it to fit. Push in the mount vent. Apply some hot glue. Let's look it over. I call this helmet done. And that's how I went about making my foam helmet with my chrome visor. I call this costume a Space Marine. When I did that, I did not realize that there's a 40K Warhammer group that build giant, amazing costumes, and they're also known as Space Marines. But known that guys are going to call that costume probably something else. Anyway, I have links for both the molds and the chrome visors listed below the video. For all my European fans, unfortunately, my cos molds are not available in Europe. This particular one I use is the Cybertech mold. I would recommend reaching out to your cosplay friends in the States, ask them to get these molds for you and ship them to you. The visors we have here in the States, again, might be difficult to find in the UK. If you can, reach out to your friends because you're going to need this if you want to make this helmet. They're really inexpensive here, but have your friends in the States buy them for you and have them ship them to you. Everybody, if this is your first time watching my video, don't forget to subscribe and go to my website. Not only do I have the pattern for this helmet, I have numerous patterns for all your cosplay building needs. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you back next time right here on the Evil Ted channel.